All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the podcast where the coach, the analyst, and the armchair quarterback. Last week, fun week, at least in the start. Uh, Striker won the week. 2 weeks in a row, Striker won. 11-4. Apparently, he just say no to crack kids. Um, and then Ripper and Wardy both finished 10-5 for the season. Ripper's 59-32. Striker's 57-34. Wardy's 55-36. Gets the spread. Ripper won at 10-5. 9-6 for Wardy and Striker. Overall, 56-40-1 for Ripper. 54-40-1. So there's math wrong there. Probably 42. And then 48-43-2. We'll check the math on that. The Chiefs took care of the Broncos pretty handily. We missed up on the Chiefs as far as the points. Two y'all picked the Falcons, where I knew they were a 4-win team all year long. The Vikes won. We all picked. The Bengals handled the Hawks. The 49ers blew one against the Browns. Dolphins covered. We all picked that. The Jags covered. We all picked that. Striker was right on his Texas pick, and Ripper couldn't pull the trigger. The Raiders the Raiders won. I got wrong. We all covered the Rams. We all lost on the Eagles. We all covered the Lions. We lost, we covered on the Bills not covering. Striker did not. And then lastly, the Cowboys won, and I picked the Chargers. So, shame on me for not trusting Dak that week.
So I'm gonna have to go back a couple of weeks on the numbers because last week adds up math-wise. So I'm not sure what happened.
I'll do it. It's fine. I'm trying to look at chat. That's what I'm trying to do. Forgot what I was doing when I wasn't doing it.
Big upsets.
Go ahead.
I'm saying any big upsets for this past week.
So the two trap games caught both of us. We all kind of thought the Chiefs, Broncos, and then the Giants Bills were going to both be trap games with the spread. We also thought the Dolphins might be a trap game, and it didn't catch anybody. But
I pulled the trigger on that Chiefs one.
Yeah, you did.
I think I covered.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah, you covered.
And again, I thought they wouldn't score as much, and they did. So Daniel is very happy of his Browns. He's in chat, and he's very happy about his Browns. I would say it's the shocker of the year. The Browns have a really good defense. That's obvious. But if you told me that P.J. Walker would outduel Purdy and make him look mortal, I would not have believed that. So, good win.
It was a good win. I think that's the biggest shocker for the week is that game.
Correct.
Have you seen anything else? Well, Jets Eagles.
Yeah. Although, again, but that's the any given Sunday, right? They have good defenses. They have very good defenses, and that's what carried the day. It wasn't the offenses, did great. They were both close games. Yeah. So that'll do it.
This game was a little close for comfort too at 14-9. I thought the Bills would have knocked them out of the water.
The thing with the Browns Niners game was San Francisco missed a field goal at the end to win it. So that's a bigger shocker to me because the Jets actually looked pretty solid against the Eagles last week.
Yeah, I actually wrote Daniel. I want to go over what we thought was going to happen. So you guys had the Bills in first place in the East. I had them in second to the Dolphins. Then you guys had the Dolphins second. We had the Patriots universally in fourth and the Jets in third, which looks like it's going to happen the way I said it. Although you guys are just off on the Bills and Dolphins, right?
Well, the season's still playing out.
Yeah, we're where we're at, right? So that's a 1-2 attack at Viola. My head? Away. So in the West, we all said the Chiefs are going to be first. We said the Chargers were either going to be second or third. I said third. The Raiders third and the Broncos fourth. That looks like it's trending that way. Those two teams, the Chargers and the Raiders, are going to be battling it out for second and third. In the North, we had the Bengals going first across the board, the Ravens, and all 12. We all had 12 wins. The Ravens going second across the board, the Steelers third, and the Browns fourth. Nope. The Steelers fourth and the Browns third. Well, Ripper had it backwards, but so that looks true to form. And so far, no shocks, right? Jags on top in the South, the Titans, the Colts bunched up in the Texans. We had some variance on who finished where, so I think I had the Texans second. Everybody else had them last. Titans third and the Colts fourth. With Richardson out, that might actually work. So, but again, this one's close to call, but it looks like overall we were in the right area. We all had, so Ripper had Philly in first, Dallas in second, Washington in fourth, and the Giants in third. Looks like you got the first half right, the second half wrong.
Third and fourth are interchangeable.
Yeah, and then everybody else had Dallas in first. Oopsie. Although we all went high on the Giants, except Stryker had 6 and 11, and even that looks high now. So
right.
The Niners, we all said we're going to be in first place. That seems to be on par. Looks like Stryker's number is a little low. 11 and 6. We had 13 and 4. That seems more realistic. He had the Hawks win in 12, the Rams in third with 5, and the Cards in fourth with 4. I had the Hawks at 8 and 9, the Rams at 6 and 11, the Cards at 4 and 13. So nothing crazy out of line for that one. You had the Niners at 13 and 4, the Seahawks at 9 and 8, the Rams at 5 and 12, and the Cards at 2 and 15. You're probably trending a little low on the Rams and perfect on the other teams. Lions, we all had in first. You guys had the Vikes in second. I had them cratering to third. The Pack I had in second. You guys had them cratering to third. And then we also, the Bears were last place. Although we might have been high with 5 wins apiece.
We were probably high when we chose them.
Correct. For the NFC South, the last one we had the Saints going on top. I had the Bucks in second. You guys weren't as sold on the Bucks. Stryker had the Falcons with 11 wins, and you had them with 10. I said they're going 4. We're probably somewhere in the middle of that one. And then we were all wrong on the Panthers. We said 6 and 7 wins, and it looks like they ain't getting 6 or 7. We'll see. The season's still young. There could be some streaks here, but we're not terribly off. There's nothing that's like, oh wow. The Giants, Panthers a little bit.
I think the Panthers are trying to get another a redo at the quarterback draft pick this year.
Correct. And I think the Jets for me are going to be the bad ones because they don't have a quarterback.
But they beat Philly. They beat Philly.
Well, that's true. Yeah, and they beat the Bills. They're really good against the top 5 power schools. So anyhow, that's that. And then if we want to look at last week, for me, I was happy. And again, I knew the Chiefs were going to win. I just didn't know by how many. I thought the Ravens would win. The fact that that was as close as it was kind of scared me. I thought the Commanders would win. That was very close. The Vikings were better than the Bears. I thought the Bengals would win. I was shocked about the Niners. And again, they could have won with a field goal at the end. The Dolphins, again, the Panthers coming out 14-0. And I was just like, they're going to catch up. So I wasn't even worried about that one. The Jags looked really good against Minshew. They picked him off 3 times, fumbled once. The Texans look good. And again, they're going to be around, right? They're just going to be they're going to be punchy. the Patriots look bad. I think the Rams look decent. Eagles look bad. The Lions look good. The Bills looked okay, and then the Cowboys did what they needed to do. Anything you guys saw?
No, nothing really particularly weird other than those two games, right? The 49ers in Cleveland and the Philly Jets game. Other than that, teams did what they were supposed to do.
I was happy to see the Lions offense seem to get back on track a little bit with a 14-point win. So.
Oh, the Egyptian did great that game.
Yes, he did. It's the only reason that game against Wardy was close in fantasy.
It's the reason I lost in my other money league, one of my other money leagues. You know why? Because I left him on the bench.
Oh,
yeah.
Was that just an accident?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I mean, I've done it. I mean, I put ETN on the bench the other week, but I had good players to put in his place. So it's one of those. I was like, oh, the Bills is going to be a tough matchup, and then he scored. Like, you can never pick those. Like, I do a terrible job at picking those. I know I read all the time. They're like, oh, he's going to play this defense, and they're the 32nd against the rush, and then I'll have the rushing champ, and that'll be the game he gets 5 yards. So
it was more coming off an injury, and I had other receivers. I was like, we'll let him sit this week, see what happens. Well,
yeah, I think I did that to Cup the first week, and I was like, oh, he's good. It's like, put him in. All righty then. Let's go ahead and go to the game of the week. Question for me is Trevor Lawrence going to play?
Correct. That's the biggest question, right? Because that's going to make a difference one way or the other.
Correct. Because CJ Beathard is not quite the same.
No, I would say not. So is he playing?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, he's listed questionable with the knee, and the question comes is, what do we know about the knee? Because that's
the knee is it's a sprain. So it's not. He didn't have any major damage. He just had minor damage, but he didn't finish the game. He missed again. It was a kneel down series that he missed. So, what does that mean? And the other question is if he's gimpy on his knee, does it affect his mobility? Does his mobility affect him to get does he get sacked in the pocket? So, who knows? Wow. Yeah. So,
I mean, this one for me is if he plays, they win. If he doesn't, they don't. I don't think that Bethard, however you say his name, is good enough to lead this team, right? I think the mistakes will cost them, and it'll put their defense in a bad position to defend, and it'll go from there. And it just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs. It gets worse. I don't think your running game without a quarterback that can also throw the ball is going to work the same. Saints are big up front. Again, if Lawrence plays, whole different story. If he doesn't, I know we got to choose one way or another.
And the spread is the Saints are 1. So the Saints are at home, so they're technically, a little down.
2-point Jags if they're on a neutral field.
You see, that's the bad part, though. We have to choose one way or another, not knowing whether Lawrence is playing. That's tough.
Well, and again, mine is even. I'm telling you, I believe he's going to play. What I don't know is how effective is he going to be with that knee.
Probably still 50% better than Bethard. Just for sake of choosing, man, I'm going to go with he's going to play, and I'm going to go with he'll probably be all right. They've got doctors, masseuse, and everything else working on his knee right now. So if he plays, they win. So
they're calling the Deshaun hotline right now.
Yeah, they are. I'm going to go with the Jags. By 1, right?
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
To lose, yeah.
I'm going to say Jags. I can't not go with my team. This is what I mean, and again, I've done a lot of film on this team. The line is terrible. Like when he's throwing touchdowns in spite of pressure and getting smacked. They can't sustain this. And again, we're talking against teams that don't have really good, ferocious front fours. Like the Niners are going to come to town in, I don't know, 4 weeks or so. Man, well, they're getting hurt, but if assuming they've got their top dogs, that's not good. And it's impacting the offense because you can't get those weapons enough time to get open. And so, everything is the first read. It's got to get out, and it's got to get out quick. I think he's second in the league in getting the ball out. The nice side is the defense looks really good. They're stout in the back. They're stout against the run. They're probably weak in the middle. I know they give up a lot to tight ends, but that's not the Saints' strong suit. And I think we lead the league in takeaways. So they're ball hawks right now. I don't think it matters. I think our running game is good enough when ETN getting on the edge. It's terrible between the tackles, but if he's on the edge, which they did in that Colts game, he looks like a totally different animal. So him and screens and stuff like that. And then quick hits to guys like Ingram, even Ridley, on a short, quick route. So I think they've got enough. I think they can bottle up Kamara, and I think Carr's going to give them turnovers. So that Jacks.
So I'm gonna go counter because I don't think Lawrence stays healthy, and the offensive line is the reason why. I think he's gonna get hit and dinged, and at some point he's not gonna finish the game, and that's the difference, as Ripper said early on. So I'm going the Saints, and the Saints by 2 because that covers the spread, right?
Yeah.
I just don't think Jacksonville can protect him well enough to keep him healthy for the whole game.
Yeah, but what are the Saints in pass rush? The analyst.
Pass rush? That's a good question. I'm looking that up right now. They're 6th overall in points against.
I think that's because they played the Panthers twice. but anyhow, I don't think they rush the passer very well. Not that you need to with the Jags, and you might be right, but I don't mind Beathard. I mean, he's no Lawrence, but I don't mind him. With that being said, Beathard throws for 5 picks.
I mean, they've got 13 sacks to Jacksonville's 12, so I mean they're not.
Yeah, so we don't rush the passer, so they don't either.
Yeah, I just think it's less about the sacks and more about just the pressure and Lawrence taking hits in general.
Okay.
But
the next game we will have is the Raiders and the Bears.
Mm.
Will the real quarterback please stand up?
Really? Well, the bad thing about the Bears, they have no running game right now,
and no quarterback either.
and no quarterback. Yeah, this could be pretty disastrous, or it could be like, hey, this is the quarterback we've been waiting for all season.
Or a PJ Walker situation may occur.
Who's the quarterback for the Bears right now?
It is Tyson Bagent is his name.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Well, you know what? Last week I said PJ who? Tyson who?
So Tyson Bagent, his college is Shepherd. Literally, he went to some college called Shepherd.
Wow.
Is that a high school? Are you sure that's not a high school?
I'm just telling you what ESPN says, so hold on.
Where did Tony Romo go? Southeast.
Southern Illinois University. That is not a Shepherd school.
Well, that still sounds like Votech University.
West Virginia University has 3,100 students total.
Wow.
And a Division One football?
NCAA Division 2.
Ah, okay.
Pennsylvania State Athletic
Conference. How many years he's been in?
He's a rookie.
Oh.
Where did Purdy go to college? Just saying, right? Last guy chosen in the draft.
But it wasn't a Division II school.
Wow. Well, hey, you know what? Like I said, either the Bears are trying to tank the season, or this guy's going to come out and be a miracle thrower.
Purdy went to Iowa State, not Iowa, but still.
Still better than Shepherd, Votech.
Yeah. School for the blind.
Shepherd College. They share the building with a Circle K.
Otherwise, they've got Pitt quarterback Nathan Peterman as their backup.
Oh, remember when Peterman played for the Bills and threw like 100 picks in a game?
Bro, my senior class was, yeah. Oh, my high school had more, not my senior class. My high school had more than 3,100 people. Jesus. That's crazy.
Okay.
Anyways, back to the game. So, if this is a battle of the not so great quarterbacks, Garoppolo is definitely playing just throwing interceptions, right? Is that what we're at? 7 TDs, 8 picks, not great. I don't know anything about Mr. Shepherd, but I'm also not going to take a ringer on him, flyer on him, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to say the Raiders win this one pretty handily. The Bears have no running game. They have no quarterback. They have, a receiver, but nobody that can throw it to him. I think the Raiders win this one pretty handily. I don't even think the Bears stand a chance in it. Quarterback from Shot. Unless this guy comes out of nowhere and he signed the same deal that Purdy and Brady signed, it's like the miracle quarterback from Shepard Votek. I doubt it,
6
though.
touchdowns in the first quarter.
But I'm really curious to watch this game just to see what this guy does, right? Like, where is Shepard?
It's in West Virginia.
Even worse.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, I'm pretty sure his sister cousin will be rooting for him, but I'm going to go with the Raiders on this one. Garoppolo. I'm pretty sure Garoppolo is a better quarterback than some guy from Shepard Votek. I'm hoping, anyways. And they have running backs in Las Vegas, and receivers, and a quarterback that can kind of throw to him. I'm going with the Raiders.
Hey, who's the other team? These are the weird. I mean, these are the hard. Because not having game film on a quarterback can be bad. And the Bears have played the entire season without a quarterback. So, and Garoppolo has given the ball over. These are the kind of bad games that happen. And I know, I think you're right. I think this guy's he's from a Division IIA school. He's probably going to be like, I can fit that in there. And then he's going to see an NFL quarterback cover the distance like that. But you never know. And this would be the week they do it. I'm going to take the safe one and go with the Raiders. Raiders by the minimum amount that I can do, which is 4. Because they're favored by 3. Assuming you're going to do the same thing. That was to you, Ripper. Yes, Warder, you're right.
I'm sorry, I missed it. What?
You're going to take the spread of 4, or 4 to be over 3, right?
What is the spread? 4 points?
3.
Oh, yeah, 3. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So.
Go ahead.
I think we should actually ask ourselves the over/under on how many picks Shepard throws. I'm saying 3.
I think that's the right.
Shepard. That's not even the right quarterback. So.
Yeah, he's Shepard to me now, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what his name is anymore.
Van Flusenhyven.
Well, they do have a guy named Trace McSorley who almost reminds me back to an old NHL player. But
Trace, isn't McSorley the guy who was the Ravens backup?
I believe he was.
Yeah, he's a Lamar Jackson clone. He can't throw.
Baltimore, and then Arizona last year, and yeah, he can't throw. So
and by that, and again, for those of you, anyone who actually watches this and goes, he said they can't throw. They can throw way better than a human mortal person, but for an NFL quarterback, no. So, go ahead, Strike.
Yeah, no, I mean, any of these guys playing any level of college football have a better arm than most humans out there, period, right?
Yeah.
I go with the Raiders, and it's as simple as I think Badgett, I mean, he didn't do bad against the Vikings last week other than that strip sack and score. He was 10 for 14, but only had 88 yards. So I think the wild card for the Bears is going to be, do they game plan a bunch of short stuff, and do they have enough talent to help them? Because their previous game plan was almost run with Justin Fields, right? Like it was half designed runs and stuff. And I don't think they make that adjustment well enough. So I'm going to take the Raiders in the over. But yeah, I'm gonna watch that one a little bit just to see how bad Badgett turns over the ball.
And you just never. I mean, again,
I want him to do. Like, I want him to win it just because of that underdog story that everybody loves. But
yeah, especially a rook. Ugh. That's hard enough normal, right? Like coming from big schools. So yeah. Nope.
Before we move on, though, I will say he did have a quote today that basically said, I've got nothing to lose, and guys like that can be a little dangerous because, I mean, he's going to go do what he's going to do and try to ball out the best he can. There's not going to be any nerves or anything. So.
Yeah, but the flip side of that is there's also people that say that on the San Francisco Bridge right before they jump off. So.
Yeah, true.
Listen, a kid from Shepard coming to play his first NFL game, you think he's not going to be nervous?
He's going to vomit like that dude in that movie, Jamie Foxx.
He's going to have some skids for sure.
Yeah.
By the way, there is a national suicide hotline. If you do need help, please pick up the phone and call somebody.
Correct. We're not making light of that by any stretch.
All right then. A lot of time spent on a not so great game.
It might be a barn burner.
Shepard, the new quarterback.
We didn't think anything of Purdy, and look at him now. We got the Browns going to Indy to face the Colts.
So I'll take this one first. It's
Well, hold on, because just real quick, just make sure we're all on the same page. Anthony Richardson, winner of the knife, he's out for the year.
Yep.
Which
Well,
it's terrible. So
to be a running back.
yeah, exactly. What has he learned is he got basically his first game he got tackled and knocked out of the game at the end of the game. The third game he got a concussion, and the next game that he was in, I think he was out of game with a concussion. The next game he was in, he separated his shoulder enough to get surgery. Someone needs to learn how to get down. Go ahead.
Well, he's gonna have the rest of the year to figure that out. So.
Someone needs to remind him he's a quarterback and not a running back.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, this is what the spread that I put it up in the spreadsheet was 2.5 or 1.5 points. It's now 2.5 Cleveland, as of looking at this. But I just don't see how the Colts do this, and the Browns just have a phenomenal defense, and they showed it last week against 49ers, right? Like one of the better defensive games I've ever seen was the Browns playing the Niners last week, and so for me, I look at it and go, well, what is Indy going to be able to do? And maybe Indy does something, but I just don't see it. I mean, it's basically like if I go look at a couple of my betting sites, it's 19.3 to 19.1 points scored between the two teams, which is a coin flip. And Vegas says that with the the stats they've got or the line they've got. So I'm going to take the Browns and take the over, but I wouldn't be betting on this game. That's for damn sure if I was putting money on stuff.
So you got Minshew at quarterback. You've got a decent team in the Colts. You've got Jonathan Taylor coming back, and he's just not. I mean, he's only been back for a couple weeks, so he's not quite there yet. On the flip side, you got the Browns, and that's the Browns defense. They have no quarterback. They have PJ Walker, who didn't do a lot of good. His defense is what carried the day, and they don't have Hunt anymore. That's why the Browns looked really good, and they played up for a tough opponent. And guess what? They're not going to do it this week, and Minshew's going to beat them. Minshew and Taylor running the ball because the Browns don't have any offense. So and I don't think it matters how good their defense is. I think they'll lose this week. I think they played their hearts out against the Niners. They won when it was great, and this is it's PJ Walker. It's if they had Hunt, I'd feel a little different, but nah.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a number. Actually, I'm gonna let Wardy or Ripper go first, and then I'll ask
Is
you.
Kareem Hunt out? Did he get hurt?
Yeah.
Still got Ford, who actually ran a lot better than Hunt. So here's my view on all this. Two things. One, Minshew is inconsistent, right? He's got good games and bad games. We see that his whole career. Last week was definitely a bad game for him. Will this week be a good game? Again, inconsistency. He can go 3-2-4 bad, and then, hey, I'm going to have one good game. I don't know. On the other side of the ball, you have another not so great quarterback in PJ Peanut Butter Walker. What's
PJ Peanut Butter Walker. And Daniel, I'm very sorry.
Peanut butter and jelly.
That guy. Not a great quarterback either. So again, it's going to go down to the battle of who throws less interceptions. The plus side for, you would think, the Colts is Jonathan Taylor coming back. Coming back from what? How long was he off? He didn't run last week, did he?
Yeah, he ran last week.
How did he do?
Not great.
Do you really want to know the answer to that? 14 carries for 37 yards.
Well, because he's crusty, right? Rusty, crusty, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a while before he comes back. I think this game, if you said the Browns have no offense, and you're kind of right, they do have a running game. The difference here is going to be the fact is who throws more pick sixes, right? And that really could be the difference.
So I actually apologize. That was 14 carries for 37 yards total this season. It was 8 for 19 yards against the Jaguars.
Yeah, we shut down the run, and Moss ran a bunch too.
I think that the Browns' running game is just a little bit better right now, only because they're not trying to force it to a running back that's been out for how long now? 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it is.
Well, and part of last year too.
How did Moss do last week in the game?
Neither running back did well.
7 carries for 21 yards. He did have a touchdown though. So and he was.
You were also playing the 49ers defense. Which
No, you don't know.
the
They were
Colts
playing the
defense
Jags.
is not the same.
They were playing the Jags.
Which is
in
like the
Indianapolis.
49ers defense. You're right.
You get what I mean. I was mixing it with the Browns, but you get what I mean. The Browns defense is tough. I don't see Moss or Taylor running on the Browns defense either, and I think that makes all the difference in the world when you don't have a quarterback. I think on the flip side of that, Cleveland's running game is a little bit better, and the Colts defense is not. So, that said, which quarterback makes less mistakes? Both of them will throw picks. The running game is stronger on the Browns side, as is the defense. I'm taking it. What's the spread on it?
Browns by 1.5.
I'm taking the Browns to cover.
Browns to cover.
Just based on, it's battle of the not so great quarterbacks, but the run game is the factor here.
Well, it's funny you say that because Minshew is one of the best at not throwing picks.
I'm pretty sure I
now-
said the Browns, didn't I? Not the
Last
Colts?
week. Yeah, I put you and me together. It's okay. I know what I'm doing.
The Minshew's 3 touchdowns, 3 picks this season.
Yeah,
Talking
but
about
that was
this.
all last week. Those 3 picks were last
This is
week.
a new week. You could throw another 3.
Okay. My point is he
That's my logic.
throws very few interceptions. That is my point. Last week was an aberration. I think the only game he's ever thrown 3.
How many games did he play this season?
Well, it's not this season. It was period as like in his career.
Correct. But how many has he played this season?
I think 2 now. It was like a game and a half.
3 picks across 2 games. I'm just looking at the stats, right?
Yeah.
1 game, 2 game. Minshew didn't throw picks all his career. Now he's a backup for a reason.
Oh yeah. He's
Playing against a good defense that just had a great win, and maybe the Browns defense, their offense is horrible, but their defense is still great.
yeah, and they
I just
don't give
don't
up
see
many
it.
points. They don't score
Still
many
going with
points
the
either.
Browns.
So
Sorry, mustache.
Gardner Mania, baby. So, question for you both, and we all went the same route, or you and I went the same route, Ripper. So the Browns defense, they are the lowest in yards allowed by over 500 yards against the next team. They're the lowest in yards per attempt. They've got the highest sack percentage and one of the higher pressure percentages, and they're not missing tackles. Like, that is not a recipe for Gardner to succeed, and that's all I was going to mention.
Agreed. But Gordy's going for the mustache out of nostalgia. The old Jag.
oh, I've seen him do it
mustache.
like games like that you're like, what just happened?
I mean,
Of
there was
course.
that whole Gardner Minshew mania back when when he was on the Jags. So
It's because Wardy's touched.
So
Minshew's
remember, the
mustache.
Browns so far have played the banged up Bengals in week 1. They played the Steelers and gave up 26. They played the Titans. They played the Ravens, and then the Niners. So it's not exactly the offensive juggernauts of the league. In the preseason, they gave up 30 to the Chiefs. It's a preseason.
Yes.
I mean, even getting smoked by Baltimore in week 4, they still gave up less than 300 yards.
Okay, picks are in. We shall not see.
Moving on.
Bills and Patriots.
That's a joke. The reason I say that is, come on now. Patriots are looking horrible. And I know that, Belichick stepping in, whatever. I'm done with thinking Belichick is something special. Honestly, I think the more we see this season play out, the more you'll see Belichick contemplate retirement. I wouldn't be surprised if he hangs up the hoodie at the end of the season. With that said, Bills didn't look great last week, but they're still a stronger team in this one. I don't think New England's defense can stop them very well. I don't think New England's offense is going to do much against Buffalo's defense. If you've got the Buffalo defense on fantasy or if it's available, stream them. They're fixing to have a big week. I'm going with Buffalo on this. What's the spread? So I don't make a dumb mistake.
8.5 to Buffalo.
I'll go with Buffalo to cover.
That's a lot of points. Go ahead, Sugar.
They're gonna score. They're gonna win by like 14. I'm keeping it short and simple in these dumb games.
Yeah, I don't see how the Patriots. The only question I have is the Patriots Bills usually play a tight game, but New England has no offense. They don't have a really good defense this year, and I think Belichick's lost not only his fastball but his curveball and his changeup. I mean, he's a batting practice coach at this point, and maybe it's time for him to hang it up. I know there's a whole lot of people that are pretty upset with him in New England. They are also 31st for points allowed or scored and 24th points against, going against the top 3 offense and top 3 defense. Yeah, this isn't going to be close. I'm surprised the line is as low as it is. I could have easily seen an 11 or 12 point spread on this one. So, Bills cover.
Agreed. Sorry,
I liked how people give so much credit to coaches and so much credit not to the team. And as much as Ripper is a coach and he's awesome at what he does, players play. Like, coach can put all the X's and O's on the board. If players don't execute, it doesn't matter. And I don't think I think Belichick's still a good coach. I think he's got nothing left. The cupboard is empty. This isn't Belichick struggling. This is the team is bad. And the team is bad across. Name someone on the Patriots that you would take in fantasy. I'll wait.
Who's the GM for the Patriots again?
But that's not Belichick the coach. That's Belichick the GM. Sure, okay. Go ahead and fire that guy. Fire Belichick the GM. But who is a player on this roster that is worthy? There's no one, right? Anybody?
Are we talking
No.
IDP or no?
Maybe the running back.
Okay, so you don't have to nerd out. Just literally see, was there anyone on the team you would pick?
Couple of defenders.
What if I we got the pass plays into you wouldn't. Like,
We're talking left-footed kickers.
Yeah, you wouldn't take anybody in any kind of league. I don't care. So unless there were, one of those leagues there were 19 teams, and you had to. So it's the talent's not there for him to do anything with. Buffalo is exactly what I thought they're not that good either this year. And they're showing it against teams that they've lost a few games. And they don't look good. They should handle the Patriots again because there's just no talent there. But I don't think it's Belichick the coach. And if they replace, I guess the question to you guys, if they replace the quarterback and let's say they get the number 1 pick and they get the new savior coming up.
Weber or whatever his name is out of USC.
Does Belichick look brilliant again in a year, 2 years?
I don't think Belichick's around at that point. I think he's walking after the end of the season.
I'm waiting to throw down my 2 cents.
Go ahead.
Well, as a coach, you're 100% right that players execute, right? We're not on the field. We're sideline to sideline. We're on the sideline. They're on the field playing. And yes, they have to execute. And of course, you want to have talent at every position, right? You have 11 guys on the field. And if you can get the best kid on the field or guy on the field at each position, great. Now, I get that. And that all is fine and dandy in, let's say, high school and down. But college and up, these are all athletes, right? This is the professional game. Every single guy they have in the field is a talented guy. Yes, you'll have a little bit more talent here and there and a better quarterback here and there, and it makes a difference, sure. But coaches are supposed to do something too. As a coach, if we're getting our ass kicked and I have great talent or even good talent, it's my job to change the schemes. It's my job to make adjustments. It's my job to tell and move the pieces, right? Like, hey, do this, do this, do that, right? I'm changing schemes. I'm changing strategies, so on and so forth. Belichick and his son look like they did 8 balls all night, right? And they're just lost out there. They don't look great. And you can tell when a quarterback or a coach, and even a quarterback, but a coach especially, he's ran his course, man. Maybe he needs a change of venue as well to bring back the mojo. I don't think it's there anymore for him. And it could just be where he's at, and it's just stagnated him, and maybe the talent isn't there, like you said, sure, but I think he's lost something. I think that's one of the problems. Not the biggest, obviously. But what was their record last year?
They were 500. They were like 8-9 or 9-8.
Do you think they're going to win that many this year?
Nope. I said that at the beginning of the year, though. They're depleted.
What is the difference in talent from last year and this year? Almost
I
the
mean-
same team.
I mean, they've got
Yeah.
almost no offensive weapons, though. They
All they had last year was Myers.
No, they had Hunt. They had 2 tight ends. They got rid of one of them. Like they had some.
They have Jaceki and Hunter still. I get why they're good. Jaseki's an animal. I think he's hurt right now, but I get it. I get what you're saying. I think that one of the issues is Belichick. Sometimes there's reasons why teams change head coaches, and there's reasons why new head coaches make a difference for you, right?
Yeah.
I think part of the problem is the coach.
And I just wonder if he. I don't think coaches age. There's this thing like you get McDaniels coming in. Everybody's he's a genius, right? And he is right now. But you had McVay who was a genius before that, and people come in. They come in with new ideas, and Belichick has been very good at what he's done for a long, long time. And I don't think the game has changed in the last 20 years so much that he can no longer coach. What I do think is, and this is a perfect example. I remember watching the Patriots with Drew Bledsoe in I want to say '95, the first year Brady started playing.
With Parcells,
They went 0-2 and they looked terrible. Terrible. I said this is the worst team I've ever seen when I watched them play. They got beat down. I think the Bills beat them like 33-0 that year, and I think the Jets were beating them pretty badly. Someone beat them pretty badly. I think they were losing the third game to the Jets when Mo Lewis took out Drew Bledsoe. And then, man, Brady came in, and that team ended up winning the Super Bowl. There's a lot to be said with a quarterback. And Mac Jones right now, he's done. Like, I don't know what the difference in the coordination is and what happened from his rookie year to now, but he's no. He's melting down. And I honestly think if you put a competent quarterback in there, everything else would look better. I don't think they would be 13 wins better, but I think they would be 500 better. So anyhow, that's my take on it. Bad teams. Next on Fox. So everybody picked the Bills and the Bills to cover because I did too. Just to make sure I said that because I don't think I did. Because they don't have a new quarterback. The Commanders are going to play the team's punching bag of Giants.
Oh boy. Well, it's an NFC East game, so you can expect a fairly good game as far as it being close, right? I don't think they're going to be blowout games either way here. NFC East always plays each other pretty tough. However, I think the Giants are hurting. Daniel Jones just isn't great. Barkley isn't running right. I don't think they have a very good team.
Is he back yet? He's back, right?
He played last week, right? Let me check.
I believe he did, yeah.
He's just not doing a lot?
No, I mean...
No, Tyrod Taylor played last week, so Jones isn't back yet.
We're talking about Barkley.
Oh, yeah, he did. 24 for 93, sorry.
Oh, not bad. Interesting, but not enough. Washington's big up front. The D-line is not bad at all. I think the Giants are horrible too. This coach probably isn't there next year either, to be honest. I think they spent a lot of money on a quarterback who's now hurt. If you got to throw out the Tyrod Taylor sighting, you know very well that you're not doing good.
Yeah, well, and Jones has got a neck injury, which is interesting to say mildly, because that's a really tough one. I mean, you one hit and it's like the Tua situation, right?
What's the spread?
Commanders by 2.
It's going to be a very good game, and I think it will be a field goal game. So I'll take the Commanders covering with a field goal to win it all. NFC East, man, they play up against each other. That's for fact. Except they're playing the Cowboys, and they get blown out.
Or the Eagles.
And then the Cowboys go to Arizona and get blown out. You know how it rolls.
I don't like either. This is not my cup of tea. These teams are going to slug it out. I don't. The bad thing is neither one of these offenses can make enough separation. Last week the Redskins actually showed some signs of life on offense, but I don't trust them to do it 2 weeks in a row. I'm gonna stick with the Commanders. Yeah, I think you're right. This one's gonna be a close one, and it'll be one of those one in the fourth quarter. You're like, oh man, please don't score. So, Commanders by 3.
Yeah, so I unfortunately am going to be boring and go Commanders and Commanders by 3, but I will say the Commanders' offense actually is better than you'd think. They're about halfway in the league in passing and points scored, and they're granted their defense sucks, but I mean they're playing the Giants, who are right down there in the bottom of the league on both offense and defense.
So it's not that their offense isn't better than I think. When you have that kind of match where you've got a middling offense and a bad defense, you allow the bad teams to score more points than normal, and your offense doesn't put people away. Like there's something about going to a average team and putting up 14 points, and they're done because they can't catch up to you. Now you do that with the Dolphins, they're going to catch up, right? If you do that to the Chiefs, they're going to catch up. But if you do that to the Giants, if you put them 14 points up in the first quarter, they're just going to make more mistakes, and that's what I mean. Is their offense isn't like the Lions can do it. The Lions have a really good offense and a mediocre defense, right? It's good, mediocre, somewhere in that level. So they can put up points and put people away, and then the defense just holds on and praise to God they don't give up 2 touchdowns. The Commanders can't, and again that defense is bad. So what they end up doing is all the games are close, and then there's no separate because. Again, when you watch games, there's a quarter of all football games are scored by a touchdown or less. So that means 75% of the games you've got breathing room in the final few snaps, right? They just don't. That's kind of what I mean. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, and I see where you're coming from on that. So
it works.
All right, we all picked the Commanders. I'm going to ask again because it's coming up. The Falcons are playing the Bucks. Is Baker Mayfield a serviceable quarterback?
Look, I think Baker will give you a good 500 effort. Does that make sense to you? That's what I think Baker is. Is he a serviceable quarterback? I don't know that he's a starting quarterback, from my opinion. I think that he's had that opportunity. I think Tampa Bay lack of better options, I guess, right now. If Baker's the best of the backups. Does that make any sense? He's the best of the backups.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
And right now they don't have a starting quarterback, so that's what they have. Could they have gone out and found one? Sure, but what was out there really? What was out there in free agency that wasn't already dealt out? Like you had Garoppolo or Carr.
A lot of guys still on the bench, right? Yeah.
And I mean, let's look at last week.
I mean, you still get Kaepernick, you know.
We don't need a cheerleading coach. Buccaneers. Baker went 206, 0 TDs, and 1 pick. That's backup numbers, if you ask me. That's what you expect from a good backup. Is, hey, go out there, maybe you turn it over once, but manage the game and don't mess it up. And that's what he did. And it wasn't enough, obviously, playing the Lions, but I don't, to my opinion, still, like I said, the best of the backups, just not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He would have been somewhere else, right? Still be at the Browns or wherever else they need him.
Correct. Okay.
That's my point. Now, for this game, this is a tough one because I thought the Falcons would do a little better than they are doing. I think Baker shows up against teams that aren't great. The Falcons' defense doesn't suck across the board. They're just not. Not that they're not great. They're just. I don't know what it is about the Falcons, right? They've got 2 serviceable running backs, good running backs. They do have a couple of great options at throwing the ball. 3 now already because Geno Smith has been stepping up big lately. You have Pitts, you have London.
London's coming along. Pitts is coming around.
And Ritter has 1,380 and 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. It's not like he's doing horrible. Yet the Falcons are 3-3 against Tampa, 3-2.
I mean, you're talking about every game he's throwing 200 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. which is what you just said was backup quarterback numbers.
Correct.
Now,
Ritter ain't a starter either. This is definitely battle of the
backups.
number 1 and number 2 backup quarterbacks.
And then the difference is you got Bijan Robinson tearing things up on the running game with one-handed catches.
With a lack of touchdowns, though.
And a lack of touchdowns.
What's the spread?
It is the Bucks by 2.5 because the Bucks are at home.
I'm going to take the Falcons to cover. I think that the run game will make a difference. I think Baker's not doing bad, but I think the Atlanta's defense is a little too strong for him. I think when he sees a tough defense is when the backup quarterback comes out. I think Atlanta's defense isn't too bad, and I think that'll be enough to mess with Baker and take a win. They don't have a running game. Is Evans still healthy?
Ish, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. How many catches did he have? 4 for 49 last week? It's there, man, but with the lack of touchdown throws, I just don't see it. I know that Tampa's defense is strong as well, but I think the Falcons take this one.
So I mean,
by 3.
It's at home. They're going to be rowdy. I can't pick the Falcons to save my life. Like every time I pick them, they lose. I think last week was the first time I did any direction and they actually matched it. So, I'm staying with you because it's scary. So, and here's my thought is that you got Baker and Evans, which I think Baker's the better backup. But you got Riddler, who's got London and Smith and Pitts and Robinson and Algiers, and that's 5 to Evans, and that's really it, right, on the Bucs side. 5 to 1. That's somebody's gonna make a play, and especially in a 3-run game, and probably win. So that's why I'm sticking with the Falcons. And you're keeping pace with you.
So you're picking the Falcons to keep pace?
The Falcons.
So I'm going to just ask a couple of questions here, Wardy. So you just named 5 targets for Riddler, I believe.
Correct.
And yet he's basically got the same passing stats per game as Baker.
Which is why I said Baker's a better quarterback because he has Uno.
So my question is, if you had to match the two up, everything else being equal, no run game, who do you take? Do you trust Baker or do you trust Riddler?
Oh, Baker over Riddler? Every day, twice on Sunday.
So that's why I'm going to choose the Bucs because the Bucs defense is solid against the run. They're going to make Riddler pass, and Riddler is nothing if he doesn't have a running game to support him. So I'm going to take the Bucs by 3, and
we already know the Bucs are going to win. We already picked the Falcons.
Yeah, correct. Well, again, I'm 1-5 on not picking the Falcons.
Yeah, I just don't see Atlanta if they can't get the run game going, and I don't think they can get it going against Tampa to have a chance. Because Riddler is not the guy who's going to be able to sit back in the pocket. And he needs the play action, he needs the movement, he needs the running game to be the threat. So
yeah, the flip side to that argument is he's got 4 or 5 actually. With Robinson catches pretty good out of the backfield too. He's got 5 targets to throw to. So what that means, even if you're a bad quarterback and your coach goes, throw 1 read here, and basically take 3 steps, look here, throw there. Someone's open. So, but yeah, I think I get, and I like Baker. I'd like him to do better. I kind of wish we get one quarterback that left Cleveland and actually did well. So I'm rooting for the kid, and I do think Tampa's defense is pretty good. He just, he's no Matt Stafford. Let's put it that.
Yeah, fair point.
All righty. The Lions against the Ravens in Baltimore.
Pull it up.
By that, I hope you mean the stats for the Lions.
The only difference with the Lions is the run game, right? Somebody's hurt, isn't it, Montgomery?
Montgomery's hurt, yeah.
Isn't Gibbs a little banged up too, or is he healthy?
He's banged up.
Gibbs is nicked, is how they're describing him.
But he's also not been very effective.
Right.
Craig Reynolds, the other kid running, isn't doing great either.
And
The run
Reynolds
game
is
was-
also questionable. Their whole running back core is
That whole run
questionable.
game last week was miserable. If you look at it, I mean,
But on the
not
flip
for
side,
Goff throwing
have you
353
paid
yards.
attention to the Ravens? They
Yeah,
have
of
no
course.
run.
They don't have a run game either.
Yeah.
But, you know, Goff over here is looking great, throwing the Egyptian and everybody else. 2 for 2 touchdowns. That's all it really took. I'm guessing the rest of the points came from the defense. Or 2 field goals. There you go. This is a great game if you're looking for the Lions. Great passing game to a couple receivers, but other than that, this game sucked. Lions and Bucks, by the way. Last week's game. Let me look at Baltimore. Jesus.
I mean, but Lamar had a good game last week. Lamar had a Lamar game. Lamar put the team on his back and said, I would win. This team is a cruddy team without Lamar Jackson.
Well, we knew that already, right?
Yeah.
That quarterback is the focal point of that offense, to be honest. Especially when they don't have a run game right now.
But he has to be, right? Like they can't. You
They have
can't.
no
You can. If
choice.
you flip Jared Goff and the Ravens, what do you think that team looks like? Ugh.
See, last week Lamar went 21 of 30, 223, a touchdown and a pick. But he rushed for 62 yards, no touchdowns.
And he what they got 17, 21? What did they get?
They were 24 to 16.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know where the
he
all
got
touchdowns
24
came from.
points on that.
Well, did the defense score? Because I'm only seeing one touchdown throw.
Did he run for one?
See Zay Flowers come. I don't see any rushing touchdowns. Guess we have to look at the scoring. Yeah, if we only had an analyst. There was a lot of field goals.
72 field. So my point is that he's doing a lot with a little, and he does have Zay Flowers is pretty good.
There really was a lot of field goals in this game, by the way. Only one pick. Anyways, back to the game. I think Detroit's offense is pretty great. I don't think that the Baltimore defense sucks for any reason at all, right? They're not bad. This is going to be a good game, though, man. If you look at it, Lamar's going to throw where he can throw, and Goff is going to throw to the Egyptian and everybody else. I don't think you really need a running game with the Ravens when you have Lamar, because he kind of is your running game.
Well, and Silly still gets 50 yards, whatever the one that's left. It's not Dobbins.
You're expecting. Thing is, we're expecting Lamar to do a lot in this game, a little too much. Really, honestly, if he has to put the whole team on his back and keep winning, it's not sustainable. And we've seen that before, right? He's going to end up getting hurt eventually.
That's what happens.
I think this game, the offense for the Lions is too much. I know the defense for Baltimore is good, but Goff has been playing some pretty good, offense, man. I think he's been playing great quarterback. I think the Egyptian is just phenomenal. I think there'll be a little too much. What's the spread?
The spread is the Ravens by 3.
Oh my goodness! I think Detroit takes this one.
Yeah, my question for the analyst to look up while I'm talking.
He's on the phone with Calvin.
Are the Lions and Goff especially? Does he do well away from Detroit? Because a lot of those guys like Goff, especially with the passing, they love the dome and 72 degrees and sunny and no wind.
Well, look at his stats. He's first off, they're 5-1.
Yeah.
Right? He's thrown for 1,600 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 3 picks. He hasn't played at home 6 times, so.
Oh,
correct. So do you want 2023 numbers?
Yeah, this year's fine. Yeah.
He's 2-1 at home and 3-0 on the road. It's just about equal.
Okay.
276 at home, 272 on the road. 7 touchdowns, 2 picks at home, 4 touchdowns and a pick on the road. So I mean,
well, the reason I asked is he's from he played in the Rams, which is not a bad weather state. Much like Drew Brees. Drew Brees was San Diego to start, moved to New Orleans in the Dome, and every time they went to Seattle or Chicago, he got his butt handed to him, right? Because he couldn't play in that element. I didn't think Goff was that, but I did want to think about that before I picked him. I think again, this is gonna be feisty. Lamar is capable of having a Lamar-like game. I would not want to bet on this game. I think the Lions have too many weapons and too many chances. I think they're gonna win, And the fact that the Ravens are favored makes it even easier, right? Lamar's going to have to do exactly what he did last week. And at some point, you either run out of steam or you get hurt. And this team should be able to put up points. Lamar's going to get his, but I see something crazy like 28-24, and they win. So, Lions, bye. But it doesn't matter.
So I thought I was going to be crazy by picking the Lions and the Lions off of this one. So my big thing is I just don't see Baltimore has allowed one of the most plays against per total, or most plays per game in the grand scheme of things, and that just Detroit is just too good on offense and will capitalize against that. If Baltimore could hang on to the ball and slow the game down, I think there's a chance, but I just don't see that happening. So,
Well,
Detroit.
the way that happens is bad weather, right? That's how that happens. If there's a really bad, again, it's Baltimore, so it's just like a rainy day, those kind of things, and that wreaked havoc. Week 2 when it rained in the Northeast and all those games were crazy. So that's how they might get lucky in this bad weather, and if so, then probably the Ravens and Lamar have an edge.
It's supposed to be sunny and 63 game day.
Then they don't. The Lions. So
Yeah.
we're geniuses.
It's all about the golf.
All right. Steelers at the Rams, also in beautiful California.
Well, the Rams are looking great. Not great, but great enough. Stafford has 1,600 yards, 6 touchdowns, 5 picks, but
he heard you talking about him. He heard you. He was
Williams is out. By the
no.
way, Akers is gone, so I'm not even. I know they're going to be using
a
third string running back.
It's like a 5th string running back. Because I think the 3rd string running back that got hurt too.
Well, they went deep into the stands and asked somebody to put a helmet on and play some running back. But on the flip side of that, they still got Nakua and Puka,
they got all the
Tutu.
4 letters.
Yes, Puka, Tutu, and Cup. So they'll be fine. I think Stafford just goes back to his backyard, starts throwing the ball around with his teammates. Pittsburgh D is mediocre, as is the Rams, but Pittsburgh doesn't have the offense the Ram does. That's for fact. So, like I said, I think Stafford plays catch with his boys, and they walk away from this game with whatever the spread is, because I'm sure the Rams are favored if it's not. If it's not a 2-digit point spread.
It is Rams by 3.
Yeah, I think the Rams cover. I think they win this game by 10 points. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are always going to be feisty, right? And they don't have a bad record, and they have a good-ish defense, but they're kind of middle of the road, if you ask me. Other than T.J. Watt, I think that the Rams have a little too much with the pass game on them, and the Rams cover and take it. I don't see how Pittsburgh stops the passing game.
Yeah, you got in my head. You got 4, right? You got Stafford and the 3 4-letter wide receivers. You've got Aaron Donald, who I'll put at the 5th one, against T.J. Watt, Pickens at the wide receiver on the other side, and that's not enough. The Steelers, the Steelers are a proud team. I just don't think they have the horses. So the Rams in 4.
Who the Steelers beat this year, Sharp?
The Steelers have beaten the Browns, the Raiders, and the Ravens.
Ravens, yeah, I think the Rams take it.
Well, in the Ravens, they basically let Lamar try to beat him with their arm and shut down the run. And Baltimore-Pittsburgh always plays a really weird game. Like, you can't put a lot of weight into that one.
No, Franco Harris, the ghost of Franco Harris saved that one, or whatever, whoever it was.
They got smoked by the Texans 30-6, though. So,
I think the biggest issue for Pittsburgh is, all right, let's double team Cup and keep him out of the game. Cool. They got Puka and Tutu, and you have bigger problems, right? Yep. Cup had a big game last week, but it was Arizona. Let's temper that, right? But either way, there's too much in that pass game. He has 3 receivers that are very good.
Oh, and Cup isn't very good. He's a superstar, right? Like he's rounding into form.
I think Puka's following in his footsteps. I think by next year, maybe the year after, Puka is a household name in the fantasy football world for receivers.
What about Tutu? Do you think he's also? He's a burner, right?
Yeah, he's a 50-50.
Yeah. All right, sorry, Shark.
Yeah, so Rams by 4. I'd actually probably take the Rams if they were a 7-point favorite too, because I don't see this game being close. I don't see the Steelers standing up with it. And I mean, we've talked about why, but
I mean, you can say that, but they are 3-3, right?
They're 3-2.
3-2. They beat the Brown. I mean, they beat the Browns. Like, that's the really good defense that they managed to.
Yeah, but they beat the Browns in week 2, and a lot have changed since week 2.
Well, the Browns beat the Bengals week 1. I mean, you can do that for it. What I'm saying is they still got 3 wins. They're not. You look at this team again. Let's go back to coach. Tomlin's a great coach. He's doing a good job with a bad team.
So the only reason Pittsburgh beat the Browns was a scoop and score by T.J. Watt in the fourth quarter.
I don't care. I don't care how you.
I mean,
win.
I'm just.
You know, the only way the Browns won is the Niners shanked a field goal.
So I hear where you're going with Pittsburgh.
No. I am not. I'm a big fan of the Rams. All right.
They all got rammed.
Correct.
Nice.
Cardinals and the Sea Chickens.
In Seattle.
In Seattle. Nice.
There's little man's back.
Oh, is he?
No, he's not back. He's cleared to practice, but he is not back yet.
My bad.
Honestly, would it make a difference? I think they're probably better off with Dobbs.
He's like a Lamar guy. Like he can win the one. That's the thing, right? He can put a team on his shoulders. He just can't do it for any length of time.
Yeah, but so I will say the Seahawks are good against the run this year. They're damn good against the run, actually.
Yeah, but you can't see the little man.
Okay, fair enough. He's like running
the Cardinals don't have a run game this year whatsoever.
Right, and so it comes down to can Dobbs or Kyler beat him with their arm, and I don't think that's.
What's up with your wideouts?
What would you like to know? I mean, DK is DK, and he's a prima donna.
Is he hurt or is he just?
He's a prima donna. He just doesn't get the ball enough for what he wants.
Mm.
I mean, and you saw that last game. I don't know if you guys watched it, but he had a personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for basically a block. I mean, he lit a cornerback up well after the ball was like nowhere near him. He just turned around and basically decked a cornerback.
Yes.
And it was because he was open but what he didn't notice was that Gino was under pressure and couldn't get the ball out when he was actually open. So.
But they're not hurt. They're just being spazzes.
No, there's no injury. I will say the only thing that would make me nervous is Arizona does get to the passer pretty well, and Gino has not had a good offensive line this year. But I still think the Seahawks take it, and I think the Seahawks cover. So I'm gonna go Seahawks 9. They're in Seattle.
Spread is 8 or what?
Spread's 8.
Same records, right?
Your channel.
Cardinals are 1-5. Seahawks are 3-2.
So the Cardinals only beat the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
And Harley came back just to talk about this one.
Uh-oh. She's going to get mad at us when we talk about smack about the Cardinals. Well, I mean, I guess I'll go.
Yeah.
Gordy's in shock right now.
Would know why I ponder the 9-point Seahawks scale.
Well, I mean, it's 8 points, isn't it? But here's the deal. Cardinals have been horrible. They've only beat the Cowboys. Their top ranked stat, or what you want to call it, is rushing, and they do not have a rushing game right now whatsoever. Connor's gone. They don't have their backup running backs aren't great. Dobbs, I think he's better than the little guy, but whatever. It's not going to make a difference against the Seahawks. I think there's more offense and more defense on the Seahawks. Well, defensive, I think they're about even, right? They both kind of suck. You tell me straight, but I just think there's more offense on the Seahawks side, and the Cardinals won't stop that. There's nothing really happening on the Cardinals side.
I think there's less suck on the Seahawks defense.
Yeah,
Correct.
the Seahawks defense is top 3rd.
If you go fantasy relevance across the board here, there's nothing you're going to take on the Arizona side. Not one bit. Not even the Premier Water Boy serving the quality H2O.
The mascot. The mascot?
Not even that.
Not the bird?
I think a Seahawk would kill a Cardinal. So I'm gonna go with the
Ah,
Seahawks on that
it
logic.
does have Hawk in the name, so.
Correct. On the logic that their mascot would beat up the other mascot in this game, I'm taking the Seahawks to cover.
That's how I'm going.
Yes.
The Seahawks mascot is way more deadly than a Cardinal. I can't. So you're going 9 on the Seahawks. Holy crap.
I'm going 10 on the Seahawks, but yeah, 9. Look at the Cardinals games. We have to go back and look at what they've scored.
Yeah, but that's still a lot.
16. They scored 28 against the Giants. 28 against the Cowboys, 16 against the Niners, 20 against the Bengals, and 9 against the Rams.
I mean, they're getting
3
points.
shitty teams that they scored points on.
Well, the Cowboys aren't shitty.
Have you been watching TV?
I'm going with my gut on this. I'm going to go Seahawks not cover. Seahawks like 3.
Nice. I think Seahawks win by 2 scores. Because they're deadly.
Yeah,
Yes.
only 3.
I mean,
only 3.
I will say this is the one that does feel like a potential trap game with Vegas this week, but I'm still going Seahawks.
I don't even know. I would say it's a trap game. It's just hard to beat a team by 10 points. And it's no offense. You're not the 49ers or the Eagles or some, offensive juggernaut. You're, and the Cards are putting up points. Like if the Cards put up 20, you're going to have to beat them by 29. That's not the easiest thing in the world.
Cards have no run game right now, though.
I know they still put up 16 against the Niners. They're gonna put up 20 against the Hawks. Like if you can put up 16 with the Niners, and maybe it comes down to you get it in garbage time. But
well, the Cards have had good game, bad game, good game, bad game. They're on the bad game.
It's on the bad. That's probably what's gonna happen. Thanks. Damn it. Okay.
I mean, when their lead running back's Keontae Ingram.
All right, so we got the Packers playing the Broncos and the Packers by 1. Can someone tell me which Broncos team is going to show up? Because one week it's the defense is terrible, one week it's the quarterback's terrible. Like they got a new player every week that decides to take the game off. I don't know what's going on.
This is another game I don't even want to watch. And like the last game, I went with the mascot could kill the other one, and this one I'm going to go with the any, mini, miny, mo.
Oh,
so give me a second. Let me let you know. This is a horrible.
Jones
game,
is coming back though, as opposed
to doing great when he was there.
Well, they were what?
Supposed to what? Dylan
1-1. Like
I'd like to say at the beginning of the season, I said Love was not that guy. I still believe that he is not that guy. He is another backup that probably should have stayed a backup. I do believe that he's not the franchise quarterback for the Packers, and that's one of their biggest problems. Now, this is going to be a game of, in my opinion, 2 bad teams. I mean, 1-5 and 3-2. What difference is there?
2 games.
I still believe. I will say this: Russell Wilson, I still believe will retire soon. Now, he's not doing as bad as I thought he was going to do this season, though, right? I mean, he has 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 4 picks. Last year, it was like 4 touchdowns and 12 picks.
Yeah.
So he's doing all right. Surprisingly, though, it's the defense this year. It's just horrible. Where, again, last year was Russell Wilson. The defense was great.
But
I don't know.
But the athleticism was way more a part of his game than anybody thought. A lot of people thought that Russell Wilson used his athleticism to buy time. He didn't. He used it to make plays, and now that that's gone, it's gone. It's gone. It's never coming back. Now that that's gone, he can't beat you from the pocket. That's what's obvious. And he had a bad game last week.
Asked him to manage the game well. How bad? I mean, he only has 4 picks for the season.
I mean, it was
up the stats.
Yeah, what was the stats for last week? It was not pretty on the Russell Wilson front.
I'm pulling it up. Hold on. Last week for Wilson, he had 13 for 22 for 95 yards. 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Sacked 4 times.
That was one bad game. He hasn't had bad games all season. And look at me defending Russell Wilson.
Yeah, okay.
Last year I was ready to pack him up in a suitcase and throw him in the Sweet Pickles retirement bus. But 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 4 picks across, 6 games? It's not bad.
Dude, they can't protect him, though. He's been sacked 19 times already.
Is it they can't protect him, or he doesn't have a clock?
Right?
Potato.
It's like, hey, your internal clock, you got to get rid of it in 3 seconds. Sure, sandwiches.
Well, and that's the problem. That's what I'm trying to say is his athleticism allowed him to extend plays, and he could hold on to the ball for 4 seconds and not get a sack. That is now gone, and the clock has not accelerated to get rid of it. And maybe it's because he can't make decisions quickly. Maybe he never had to, right? The Packers by 1.
Well, I mean, I don't think that Seattle had great offensive lines that would protect them back in the day either. You're right, though. It's the athleticism, right? The able to roll out, the able to run away from sacks, the able to make plays happen, the able to get, receivers. When you roll out, we have something called the rollout drill, right? When a quarterback has to roll out and get out of trouble, our receivers automatically know to roll with them, right, to get open. Do they have the receivers in Denver? Yeah, they've got some pretty good receivers. Can Russell Wilson roll out and get out of trouble? You're right, no. But he's not doing a terrible job of managing the game. 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, 4 picks does not spell horrible to me.
No, it doesn't.
Especially
with the fact that they've got 0 running game, right?
But something's going on with Denver, and they still have 0 running game. I think everybody's hurt except for who's running the ball now. McLaughlin.
Javonte Williams or McLaughlin.
But Williams is hurt.
Williams is hurt.
Yeah, they're playing. Can someone in Section 5, Aisle 3, please come down as the newest Denver running back?
Williams Williams was a game time decision last. He wasn't on the injury report this week, so.
The only bright spot, in my opinion, were the Packers, and I'm going to go fantasy relevance in this game. There's really nothing fantasy relevant on the other side. Well, maybe Sutton for Broncos, maybe, and that's maybe like, hey, I need a receiver this week, and yeah, I'll stream him in because look, you're right.
Now and the other team's cornerbacks have all gotten hurt.
Aaron Jones is back. That's a plus, right? He can run. He was injured, blah, blah, blah. He's back great. Love is not a fantasy relevant guy. There really isn't a great receiver on the Packers side. Now, Watson can be. He's just not there because, again, the aforementioned Love just isn't a great quarterback. The other bright spot for the Packers is maybe their defense a little bit. In battle of the not-so-great teams, and using the Any, Mini, Miny, Mo and the fantasy relevance references, I'm going to go. The spread was what? 8, you said?
No, 1. Packers.
Oh, 1. This is a tough one, but I am going to go with the Packers covering because Denver's 1-5 for a reason, but either one of these teams can win this poor game. And, Denver won because, coach picks you. Any, Mini, Miny, Mo. There you go. Green Bay wins it. Covers by, a safety.
I also am doing terrible with the Packers. I think they're the better team. That's why I'm picking them. I think Jones is going to come back, and that's the difference.
What did I say, Packers or Denver? I meant to say Packers if I said Denver.
You said Packers.
Oh, so. I couldn't remember. I had a Russell Wilson moment.
Where you realized you couldn't make it to the edge, so you just chunked the ball up into double coverage? Good job. All right, go ahead, Striker.
I just don't understand how Wilson has as good a stats this year as he does. Like he's doing everything a quarterback should be doing outside of the clock and getting pressures, right, or getting hit, right. But I just don't get it. I mean, a 12 touchdown, 4 interception sort of game or season, like
how many fumbles? How many fumbles has he got?
You would ask that question. Trying to find that's not exactly as easy as you think.
Oh, I'll just look it up while you go ahead and talk.
3 fumbles.
Yeah, so that's 3 more turnovers.
Yeah, but I mean, last year he threw 11 picks and had 6 fumbles. So I mean, it was a turnover game for Russell Wilson. But I mean, I don't get it. but I can't go against the Packers because I just don't think the Broncos have it this year. I think they're in the suck for Caleb Williams or whatever the suck for luck version of Caleb Williams is.
They're 1-5 for a reason, right?
Yeah.
The no win for Williams.
No win for Williams. I don't think Wilson retires though. He's gonna leave too much damn money on the table if he does.
Correct.
I think he's 2 years. I think they've got this year and next year with him before they
will have a highly paid backup.
I think Peyton's hoping that Russell Wilson has a Tua moment.
I think he pushes him off the team bus on accident.
As long as
I'm just gonna grab a snack. The bus leaves.
As long as they insure his contract, I guess I'm good with that.
So
Packers and Packers by 2.
So buy safety. Nice.
Okay.
Well, I mean the line's by 1, so.
The no, that's fine. Down and distance matters a lot in the NFL, and making positive yardage. And I think in watching the Denver games, there is a lot of miscues that move that backwards. So that's part of it. And also there's, it's easy to get yards between the 20. It's a lot harder once it starts tightening up. All right. The Chargers and the Chiefs.
Chiefs by 5.5, right?
They got Hardman. They need somebody. Is he the answer?
Let's talk about Hardman. Welcome back to Kansas City. Let's start with that, right?
Yep.
That's the team that originally drafted him.
Correct.
Let's talk about good old Herbert. I don't want to say that he's in that category of choking in big moments, but more than often, he has choked in big moments so far in his career. You saw the Cowboys game, correct? Everybody watched? No?
Yeah,
Yes?
I did. I don't remember the ending, however.
Oh, ended with Herbert throwing a pick.
That's right. And a pretty, it wasn't like they had gotten down the field. It was like right off the bat, too.
Yeah, they played. It was a good game to watch. We still had Dak Prescott being Dak Prescott. And by that I mean where he has that good game and then that bad game and then that good game and that bad game and then hey, we're gonna win. Nope, we're not, because Dak Prescott just threw 3 touchdowns in one play, 3 interceptions that went for pick sixes
in one play.
Yeah, one play.
Awesome.
I think Herbert played pretty well. I think the Chargers are lacking a run game. Obviously, against the Cowboys, who is going to have a great run game, other than Cardinals. I think the Chargers per se against the Chiefs, anyways. And let's look at aside from the Cowboys, because I think the Chiefs' defense is not bad at all. To be honest, I think their offense obviously is phenomenal. I don't think that Herbert and his boys are going to do very well against the Chiefs. Obviously, it's easy to say Chiefs are 5-1, right? They played well against the Cowboys, like I said, but Herbert has those. I don't know. Just watching him play, and looking at his history and how much money they paid him, I think he's kind of in that Derek Carr situation, right? Where Derek Carr would choke in the fourth quarter. I do believe that's where he's at. And you need to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You need a solid, strong quarterback. Honestly, do Kansas City and Miami play this season? Because that's going to be a game to watch, right?
I don't think they do.
I don't think
They do.
Ooh, what week?
The 5th of November. It's actually a game over in Europe.
That's going to be a game. And the reason I said that is and believe it or not, Tua, right? Who would thought? If Tua can keep his head on, or head straight, I think they have a good opportunity to beat Kansas City. But the Chargers are not that team. They don't have the defense for it. They don't have the offense for it. And, Chiefs haven't looked great per se, but it's still Patrick Mahomes, man. He still has almost 1,600 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 5 picks. If the Chiefs as long as you've got a Mahomes on your team, you're going to be all right, right? I mean, they don't have great receivers, and he's still making plays. They don't have great running backs, and they're still winning. And the fact that the reason for all that is Mahomes. The Chargers are not the team that is going to break down and stop Mahomes. So, with that said, I'm pretty sure the spread is big. What is it?
It is
5.5.
Wow. Really?
These teams play each other tough. That's why.
Yeah, but I still just don't. Watching the Chargers play the Cowboys, I wasn't impressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you guys you still have an elite defense. The Chiefs don't. And these two teams, it's like an NFC East match, right? These are
whoa.
these are
The
AFC
Chiefs,
West.
the Chiefs don't have an elite defense.
Not an elite
Defense ain't
defense.
bad.
It's
They're
good.
second. They're second
Nope.
in points against.
Nope. They don't. Sorry. It's good.
All right.
It's not elite.
They're
I'm
seventh
gonna
in
let y'all
yards
argue
allowed.
that point out. I'm gonna say the Chiefs cover by a touchdown.
Just because points at this point in the game, at this point in the year, isn't all that's wrapped up to be. And the way they're playing is, I watch a lot of Chiefs games, and I live in Kansas City, so it makes it a little easier. You're picking Chiefs by 6.
Correct.
Go ahead with yours, Striker. Why I do this?
Yeah. So I mean, the Chiefs' metrics are better defense than the Cowboys' defense. And so I mean, I don't think the Chiefs. I don't think the Chargers have the offense to do it, and I don't think they have the defense to stop. I mean, the Chargers win slugging games. They're 7th in points scored and 23rd in points allowed. The Chiefs are 9th in points scored and 2nd in points allowed overall. And I mean, yeah, the Chiefs haven't looked good, but you got to remember, we're used to the Chiefs looking awesome. And they don't have to look awesome. They just have to look good enough, and they're looking good enough. So Chiefs and Chiefs covered is where I'm going with that one.
Okay. So looking up numbers. Sorry. They lost the Lions 21-20. They scored 20 points. They beat the Jaguars 17-9. They scored 17 points. They beat the Bears team 41-10. That was the big one. They beat a Jets team with Bob Wilson 23-20. They beat the crappy Lions team 27-20. They beat a bad Broncos team 19-8.
Correct.
So here they're not scoring. There's something not right. I know what it is. Their wide receivers are not good. They've got Kelsey, and that's it. They've got a mediocre running game, and they have Patrick Mahomes, who can literally, what he is whatever Herbert is on the choking side. Mahomes is the exact opposite. He knows how to keep a game just far enough out of reach to you to finish you off. And he's basically, this year, it looks like he's a master of it. Where they get, 8 points ahead of you or 9 points ahead of you, and they're like, yeah, we got you. So
all I heard from your theory was the Chiefs find ways to beat teams. Whether they're bad teams or good teams, they're finding ways to beat
Mahomes
teams,
is a magician with a game on the line. That's
and the spread is 5.5.
Yeah.
So
again, I'm not going to bet against Mahomes, and I won't, because he's that good. It does, I think that they're in trouble if they don't get more dynamic in the offense when they play the Miamis of the world and the Buffaloes. I don't think San Diego's in that tier.
How great were they last year? Offensively, how great were the Chiefs last year? Same 2 stars, Mahomes and Kelsey.
You look at their points per game.
Yeah, pulling it up.
Yeah, they won a lot of games.
But they scored 30 points a game.
They were first overall with 29.2 points per game.
Yep.
And their defense was actually middling. It was about middle of the road.
5-1, still finding ways to win. Whether it's by 30 points or 2 points.
And actually, at this point in the season last year, they were 4-2.
Correct, but let's look at it. You said they scored 30 points a game, but they won a lot of their games in the fourth quarter by a touchdown, a field goal, whatever. Mahomes still finding ways like, hey, we're down 30. I need to score 30. Let's do it. Now it's like, hey, we're down by a touchdown. Let me go out there and get this touchdown and win this game.
Yeah, but they're doing that against the Vikings, who are 1-5. They would beat. I mean they're doing it against the Jets, who are 2-5, 2-5, 2-4.
I'll believe the theory when they start losing.
Well, they haven't played a team, and again, the Chargers aren't it either, right?
Look, when fucking Mahomes
good one.
sorry.
When he plays in London,
beep.
Yeah, when they play in
when
London.
Mahomes farts, it sparkles, baby. Yeah, this kid wins.
But this again, my point's back to the Cowboys. You guys are getting to the playoffs. The Chiefs are going to win the West. They're going to get to the playoffs, right? That's a given because they've got Mahomes. It's not about that now. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. Are they going to go back? And no, they don't look good enough, right?
Yeah, well,
That's
agree.
so, but good enough to beat the Chargers. Good enough to move along in the postseason.
No, they find ways to win every game. Some wins are ugly, some are pretty, but either way, they're winning. The Chiefs.
That Chiefs. All right,
I threw an F-bomb down. I'm sorry.
that happens. It's
You're
only
gonna have
one.
to beep that out later.
Yeah, it's fine. The game of the week, Dolphins versus the Eagles.
This is definitely a game I want to watch. Now after this debate with Kansas City and the Chargers, I want to watch that game too. But I definitely want to watch this game and even the next one. But Miami Philly is going to be a good game. Philly lost a tough one against the Jets. I think the Jets defense is underrated, and I think they're a lot better than people give them credit for. Uncle Rico was ecstatic because he reset. Um, I think this game is definitely going to be. Didn't Tua and Hurts know each other, right? They went to school together.
Two and Hurts
One
with
of them was the
Alabama.
backup for
One
the
was
other.
one was the starter, one was the backup, and then Hurts went to wherever he went after Alabama.
There's a back end story to this, right? The
Hurts
starter
went to
against the
Oklahoma.
backup. This is going to be a good one. I think that the Dolphins' offense is phenomenal. I think the defense on the other side is not phenomenal. The Eagles' defense is middle of the road to me. Not maybe a little better than middle of the road, maybe top 10ish, but man, the Dolphins. Wow, I forgot what. There's too many Eagles and Dolphins here. Anyways, the Dolphins are just great. The passing game is awesome. The only big problem for them right now is Mustard going to live up to the mustard, right? Can he cut the mustard? Because the rookie running back, Acme, whatever his name is out. Mustard looked all right, but does he live up to it? Because we all know Mustard will have good game, bad game, right? Either way, does it make a difference? This is going to be a tough one, bro. It's going to be a great game. I think that both teams will put up the points. I think it's going to be an exciting game to watch offensively. Uh, Dolphins on the other side, the defense is horrible. I don't think they have a very good defense. Again, though, it doesn't matter when you're scoring so many points, right? Good game, good to watch. I think that it's going to be an offensive show. I don't think either team's defense is going to do great. The biggest difference maker here, honestly, is going to be turnovers. And in the turnover department, I think Hurts is that guy, right? He's 7 for 7, 7 touchdowns, 7 picks, 1,500 yards. Whereas Tua is almost 1,900 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 5 picks. The run game is about adequately even, in my opinion. Receiver wise, though, we obviously know that the Dolphins have the better receiving core. Good game. I think it's going to go back and forth. I wouldn't even say that it's the last man to have the ball. It's honestly going to be which quarterback throws less picks. I don't think either one of the defense is that great. Tough one. What's the spread? I
Eagles
feel
by
like I'm
2.
going in circles here. Eagles by 2.
At home, so basically a coin flip.
Well, I think that the Eagles are going to get booed at home. The Dolphins win this one. They cover. I'm going with the Dolphins.
So here's interesting things to me. I think the Dolphins are one of those teams, and when they played a top defense in the Bills, they got slowed down, and defenses a great defense can stop a good offense, or even a great offense, right? It just depends on how great the defense is and how great the offense is. The Eagles' offense isn't dynamic because it's not supposed to be. It is a get the third down and make third down short so we have many options, including run, right? Eagles tear you down, they run over you, they're physical, and then they've got a really good defense, right? The Dolphins are the track team, right? They need to get open. They need to get space. And this Eagles team, again, a lot like the Bills, they're lined up to stop. This is The problem is I think the Dolphins have again some breakaway threats, so you can get a Hill that get 1 or 2 3-yard passes, he turns into 99, and the dynamic of the game changes. But on the flip side, I think if the Eagles play their game, they're going to wear you down and wear down a bad Miami defense, and their defense will stop their offense. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to go with the Eagles at home, being energized. Hurts trying to show that he is really the man, and they win. Eagles by 3.
The Eagles just lose to the Jets.
Yeah, which is just the more reason for them to come back. They're not going to lose 2 in a row.
He's sad.
I know I know you want them to do it.
I'm saying it.
Because NFL teams never look ahead to their opponents. They never go, "Oh, it's the Jets. Don't worry about it. We're playing the Dolphins next week." Real quick before you start. Thank you for the follow there. The legit man. Hope you're doing well.
Legit man 999. Yeah, so for me, it's going to come down to which quarterback handles the pressure better, because both teams get to the quarterback extremely well. They're both in the top 5 in sacks this year and top 5 in pressures this year, and top 10 in pressures. And so for me, it's going to be which quarterback handles, and that's going to come down to offensive weapons. And I mean, I think the Dolphins have this one. It's going to be a heck of a scoring game. I think the over-under of 51.5 points is probably low. I can easily see this being a 45-48 game. But you never know. But I'm going to take the Dolphins, and yeah, I guess that's just the Dolphins because I don't need to worry about the spread.
I would take the under on that one all day long.
Under 51.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I think this is going to be like a heavyweight fight, right? Just standing toe to toe and just boom, 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 boom.
I mean, that's
hitting each other.
31-28 puts them over without a problem. And
I see this being like a 21-17.
I don't. There's too high. Both offenses can score. You have 2 of the top tier offenses. I honestly think that this game is going to go, like I said, blow for blow. I honestly can see both teams. I honestly think this is like a 38-35 game.
I see the Eagles' time of possession. That's where I'm going. If you're right and the Dolphins are winning and their offense is conquering the Eagles' defense, they score quick. The flip side is if the Eagles are getting their way and they're running the ball and they're getting 4 yards a chunk, that is not quick.
Well, the flip side of that, the Dolphins also have a run game. Probably the top run game in the NFL right now. One of.
Even without what's his name?
Mustard. Look,
against
38.
Do it against the
Jeff
Eagles.
Wilson Jr. is coming back.
Do it against the Eagles. Just saying. All right. So.
You taking the Feagles?
I'm taking the Feagles. Striker's taking the Dolphins. You're taking the Dolphins.
I've never seen a hawk kill a dolphin. Just saying. If you go back to the killer instinct of the mascot.
Oh. On the flip side, have you seen a dolphin kill an eagle? Because I haven't seen that one either.
Have you ever seen an eagle as smart as Flipper? No.
I was gonna say, doesn't the Navy SEALs train dolphins to do stuff? So
blow up other shit, but not an eagle. They wear eagles on their chest. I have not been ever kicked out of an NFL game.
Losses, and we've come down to these stronger mascots.
Yeah, exactly.
Games.
So, legit man asked if I've ever been kicked out. No, have you? All right, we got our last game of the week. The 49ers playing the woeful Vikings.
In Minnesota and a touchdown favorite. Interesting.
The Vikes are touchdown favorites?
No, the Niners are touchdown favorites.
What's the spread?
7 for the. They just literally just said it. 7 to the Niners.
We could say, Dak Prescott's Cousins. To start with that, but he's not doing too bad, man. He has almost 1,700 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4 picks. So what is the problem with the Vikings?
They can't stop. They can't stop anybody. Is their problem?
Here's the big thing. One is, and I was going to ask this earlier, how less dynamic is the 49ers offense without McCaffrey? Because he's not playing this game, right?
he's not out for the
I believe
season.
he's out.
That's all I know.
He's out for the
He's
game.
questionable, and they're calling it a pain tolerance issue. So it sounds like it's a how many hits can he afford to take before it's too much.
Well, let's start with the run game with the Vikings.
Well, and Purdy was terrible last week, and Debo's out, right?
Yeah, but how terrible? He has 10 touchdowns and 1 pick. I mean,
He got So again, last week I think he threw 90 yards.
correct, but isn't every quarterback due a bad game?
Sure, I guess.
Throughout the
But
season?
more
again,
important,
90 yards
he lost McCaffrey, he lost Samuels, he lost Williams, all last week.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so the question I have counter to that is, does that losing that in a game versus being able to game plan it for a week? Because I mean, Kittle didn't do squat last week, and Kittle's due for a big game. He's not Kelsey, but he's up there.
You still have Ayuk. I mean, which is your top receiver
Yep.
in San Francisco. Purdy went 125, 12 for 27, 125, 1 touchdown, 1 pick last week. Which isn't a great game, but again, the Browns defense, right?
Yeah.
And you lost Steve-O, you lost McCaffrey, and strikes right. Like you losing
You
it
probably
game,
lost your game plan in the middle, right?
Well, that's where coaching comes in, right?
Yeah.
That's where you have to be able to adjust and go, and it just didn't happen for him. Great. Now that you're right, you've had a week and you've had a week to plan, and you're coming to play the Vikings, who haven't looked great. Their defense isn't great. I think that if the 49ers are going to make a statement of, hey, we just had a bad game, moving forward, we're still the same team, which they are. The defense is still pretty rowdy. The rushing game has changed. Mason, the guy who's going to back up McCaffrey, didn't look awful, but he didn't have that McCaffrey, right? He didn't have that McCaffrey spark for sure.
Yeah.
He's no unicorn. That's a fact. So, and by unicorn, that one pickup you do in fantasy football that ends up being great moving forward. I think they're going to struggle a little bit. I think their game plan definitely changes. It's hard without Samuel. Again, though, there is Kittle. You can throw a little more to Kittle. You still have Ayuk. If Mason can step it up and be 75% of the running back that McCaffrey is, great. The thing is that McCaffrey is not just a running back. He's a great receiver for you, too, right? So it's going to hurt. It's going to make a difference, but I don't think Minnesota's a team that's going to beat them. I think that the defense is still phenomenal, and I think they'll put a lot of pressure on Cousins, and I think that the fact that the Vikings have no running game whatsoever, they have a zero existent running game. Their receivers are doing okay, but there's not a lot of touchdowns in it. I don't see the 49ers losing this game. I think they come out, smack the Vikings around, and take a win.
Well, what you're forgetting is their mascot is way more ferocious. The Vikings way more dangerous than the 49er.
Yes, but the 49ers use modernized weapons. So
they're modern. They got heavy machinery. Got you. Okay. Hey, Paul Chan, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
What is the spread before I make a dumb mistake?
Dumb mistake inbound. Got it. 49-7.
7 points.
Again, third time.
I still go with. I'll take
49ers
the 49ers
for a touchdown. Fourth time.
It's going to be a push or a win, but I'm taking the 49ers by 8, I guess.
I'm going the Niners. So the Vikes last year were not what I thought were a good team. They were a horseshoe team. They got really lucky. It's become evident this year because they're basically identical as last year, and they're not winning any of those close games. They won all of those close games. So they're not making 30-point comebacks. This is not the team. I mean, the Vikes don't have anything to disarm the 49ers this week. Like, they're not a really good defense like the Browns. And quite frankly, even last week, they missed the game-winning field goal. A
41-yarder too. So not like it was
it's not like it was it's not like it was 63 and the kicker was like, "What do you want me to do?" So at the end of the day, they should have been undefeated. Still, it happens. It happened to them. Oh well. I think they're going to handle the Vikes and probably get some aggressions out. I am worried that, again, I think for the Niners, all they're concerned about is getting to the end of the year, not getting hurt. And last week was a big blow to that. Fortunately, McCaffrey's not done for the year. I didn't hear that Samuels was done for the year. I just heard he was hurt. And then I don't know
He's
Williams.
day-to-day with a shoulder,
Yeah,
and
so
Williams is day-to-day with an ankle.
so they're escaping, right? Like which is good. And Paul Chan agrees with us. 49ers all the way. Go ahead, Shark.
So this is, to me, is going to come down to which offense can handle the defense. Because, I mean, both teams' defenses are pretty decent in the grand scheme of things.
I thought you were going to say mascot. I was really excited about the mascot.
Yeah, I don't believe in the mascot thing. So, I mean, neither team is getting very much in the way of pressure, which definitely doesn't help. The Niners have 15 sacks. Vikings have 18 sacks, so it's not like it's a big difference. The one thing that I think comes down to is that the Niners are tackling way better in general. They basically have almost no missed tackles, and the Vikings aren't. And I think that's going to be a big difference. So I'm going to take the Niners. Now, the real question I've got is, do I like the Niners by a touchdown? And I think I got to go yes on that one, although my gut says I'm going to probably be wrong. I think it'll be like a 4-point game when I'll send it, but I'm still going to take Niners by 8 because that seems a smart thing to do.
I think they're going to beat the crap out of them, but that's just me. Paul has married a Bay Area girl, and he's a default 49ers fan. So, good deal. If you said sacks, I will tell you that is one of the most overrated defensive stats in the league. A team that is going to play the 49ers, they game plan to get the ball out quick. So their sacks get reduced. It's not the sacks that you look at, it's the quarterback pressures, and I guarantee you the Niners are way better than the Vikes on quarterback pressures.
You are correct in that number.
Yeah, and that's and keep in mind, this is a team going in saying we cannot hold the ball, and they're game planning quick passes, and even with that, the 49ers are getting it out. They should absolutely manhandle the Niners because they have no run game, which is how you slow it down. You slow it down by the run game, or you slow it down by either screen pass or quick passes. And if you can't do the run game or the screen pass, and you're only relying on the quick passes, then safeties start creeping in, and it becomes a nightmare. So, yeah, I can't imagine, other than Jefferson having a phenomenal, like a 500-yard game, anyway the Vikes win.
No, Jefferson isn't even in. He's not playing.
If he were to get healthy and have a 400-yard game, that is the only way they can win. So, yeah, there's no chance. There's no chance.
He's on the IR for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, no chance. So, poor Vikes. If Hawkinson has 500...
All
right.
Moving on.
What game of the week we already know. Well, at least I think we know, right? We're talking the Jags and the Saints. Or the Dolphins and the Eagles.
Dolphins and the Eagles.
Dolphins and the Eagles are the game of the week. Anything else? We're all going to watch the Chiefs and the Chargers, right?
Actually, yeah, it's one of the games I want to watch. That and Miami. Other than that, there's no real game that's grabbing me.
All right, one last complaint about the Thursday night game is on Amazon Prime. Please, for the love of God, make it one platform, not 10.
Yeah.
Well, just like the Sunday morning early games in Europe are all on NFL Net.
No. They bounce around. There's one on ESPN Plus, and then one was on NFL Network the next week. So, like, the first Jags game was ESPN Plus.
That's even better.
Yeah.
I'd never be awake to watch any of those games anyway, so I don't care.
So basically keep in mind we have the YouTube package so I can see every game, right? They black out the games that are played in your local market, so you don't get to watch the 2 to 3 games that are on CBS and ABC, right? Thursdays are always the Amazon Prime game, and then when they get to London, you got ESPN and NFL. Come on, man. Make it easier. So, I don't mind. It's not about the money. It's about the money and 12 services, right? But Okay.
Nice.
Anything else we want to talk before Ripper goes get food?
Nope, about it. It's gonna be some good games, some bad games, bye weeks. I'm never a big fan of bye weeks from the team I support and watch in a bye.
But you will not lose.
We will definitely beat the bye, barely by like 3 of them.
2 plays later, you score.
Unless Dak Prescott throws 2 interceptions in 1 play.
All right. So from the coach, the analyst, and the armchair quarterback, you guys have a great week.
And I will see you guys next week from Idaho Falls, Idaho.
Oh, God.
Idaho.
Yeah, I got a conference I got to go to.
All right. See you then. We'll look forward to spotty internet connections.
Right? Hilton, the Hampton Inn in Idaho Falls. I'll be there.
All right, man.
Nice.